Hi everybody, I'm Chase Raz, and this is the Zilliqa Observer. Today I'm doing a community video to talk about this new thing, ZPN, that we keep hearing about, the Zilliqa VPN. I guess it's actually a DPN, a decentralized private network, or a dvpn, if you will, decentralized VPN. And the idea with this particular entity is that they would create a decentralized VPN and reward those who allow the use of their networks, the endpoints. They would reward these endpoints with some type of ZRC-2 token. The thing is, we don't know much more than that. So what I want to do is bring you an all-encompassing video of everything I do know, because some of you know I've somehow managed to end up in the middle of this, and here we are. So on March 31st, 2021, something called ZPN was announced. The next day, it was front and center right here on Zilstream. So you can see ZPN right here. And if you take a look at the screen above me, it's tracking its 24-hour history. So this is a brand new token. I mean, like from here to there, look at all of that time. This is a relatively new token being tracked on the market. So the first thing that happened that I'm aware of is there was a Twitter announcement that basically came and said, hey, we're here. We're going to be ZPN. ZPN, a decentralized private network powered by the Zilliqa blockchain. They forgot the article "the" there. No big deal, right? You can always change a graphic. Originally, they weren't following anybody. I'm curious to see who they're following right now. Yeah, okay, standard stuff. Zilliqa community, Zilliqa, ZilSwap, and Amaret. But they were following nobody, and that comes into play in just a moment. And they currently have 176 followers. But they made an announcement, which I think it was this one right here. We recently successfully launched on ZilSwap. Have you seen our white paper yet? You can check it on our website. And there was talk of a Telegram, and when you went over to Telegram, they had a channel, not a group, so you couldn't interact. It was just, broadcast. But they did later create a group, and we'll come back to that. But this particular tweet, like with a lot of you, it led me to their website. It led me to look into it. Now, I was very busy on this particular day, and that will come in handy in the story later as well. So when I was able, I went to it's ZDPN, Zilliqa Decentralized Private Network .app, ZDPN.app. And look, you know what? I'm only going to show this on two particular pages. So let me go back to the Twitter page and also bring up the website above my head. The website is beautiful, right? It's absolutely beautiful. Great color scheme, really nice aesthetics, the ability to buy the token. So they had already seeded into the liquidity pool on ZilSwap, the white paper, get notified when the VPN goes live. But a couple of things happen from there. And of course, you know me, so white paper time. Here it is loading again. I'm not sure what caused it to unload in the background, if you will. And I'm looking through the white paper, and this is where things start to sour a little bit. Just a little bit, some yellow flags. Well, one, I'm looking through this, and there's no mention of a team. There's no mention of who's behind this to any particular degree. And that's not even a yellow flag. That's a straight up red flag for somebody in business like me. And for the one person out there who thinks I'm talking about him specifically, no, I'm not talking about you specifically. It is a common occurrence. People are trying to still use this anonymous space that was created, when Bitcoin was created and the creators were anonymous. I think that set us on a path, at least for a while in the early adoption curve, where people thought something that's not real, right? This is not a completely anonymous space, and that's not necessarily beneficial. So it concerned me that there wasn't a team. But all right, one red flag. It's a new project. Cut them some slack, right? And I'm looking through, and I also see that this isn't really a white paper. Look, I'm not going to bash anything. I think people are wondering, is this legit? Is it a scam? What should I do? Should I buy in? Should I sit by? Again, I don't do trend analysis. I'm simply doing business analysis. No hard feelings to the team here. This is not a white paper. So when we look at what's in here, first of all, like I mentioned, there's no mention of a team. That's not required in a white paper, but it's pretty much integral to anybody. Anybody in the business world is looking for that. When you're looking at this, well, first of all, they give a nice overview of what a DPN is, but then you move, and there are some typos and stuff like that. It's fine. And why is the conclusion on like page 3 of 8? I don't know. But you get to this point where, and you have to forgive me if I overanalyze, I am a professor who works with marketing plans. So they get to this nice section here that says, what is ZPN or ZPN, right? They're calling it ZPN, Zil Private Network. And I think something to take out of here is when you're talking about not having a public team, they say that because we need to deploy our service in local providers' service racks. There's some grammatical issue there as well, but that's what they're saying. They need to deploy a server in the local provider's servers racks. Netflix had trouble doing this with data centers for cable companies. So if you're talking about something of that scale, I need to know who you are. This is a business channel. You know I'm going to ask, and you know there was a resistance. How are you going to do this if you're anonymous? Who's going to let you put a server in their data center if you're anonymous? All right, so look, I've got yellow flags going. I've got the red flag of the team going, but I'm still in. And just to be clear, and there will be disclosure at the end of this video, I'm looking at this late on March 31st, knowing I didn't have any time to put into it. And so I did make some buys. I was just like, you know what, let's just secure a little bit. I haven't done my due diligence, but you know how it is. Sometimes you just secure a position and you can triage from there the next day. Exactly what I did. But I'm going to be fair, right? Just because I deal with business, I see bad business plans and bad marketing plans and bad white papers all the time. It's nothing new. So I'm still not particularly concerned. And I look at the tokenomics level and I'm not seeing anything here, right? You know, I'm not seeing anything in terms of white paper. I'm not seeing anything in the plan. So in tokenomics, instead of describing how the compensation works for the person that's giving up some bandwidth and giving up the use of their static or dedicated IP, instead of seeing anything like that, I just basically see information like what you'd see at an ICO or in a private offering of saying, look, this is how many tokens there are, here's the split. This wasn't really tokenomics of the project, it was tokenomics of an ICO. So 10 million total, 6 million for sale, 2 million in a wallet for the team and investors. And that's all here in this top paragraph. And then there's 2 million that's locked for future use. None of that's concerning, right? But this is a good opening this is a very good opening paragraph to a tokenomics section. But where are the tokenomics about how the ZPN token is going to function in terms of remittance to the person utilizing their resources or allowing the resources to be utilized, right? So the tokenomics model here is quite incomplete. And I do get it. People have been saying on social media, this is a very good white paper. It's very good. It's pretty, but it's not even a white paper. And so, and I can't stress enough, I'm not being negative. I'm not being mean. This is business analysis. There's no emotion in it. This is not a white paper. We get to the roadmap section, which is near the end. And it's just a generic statement of, wouldn't it be nice? Yeah, we're going to airdrop some cool NFTs. And look, I like that. But at the same time, you can see sort of the problems I'm getting with the white paper. When it comes to contact information, we have the contract address, Telegram, Twitter, and the website. Very self-referential. We're not looking anything at a team, nothing like that. So anyway, I start looking around and I think, of course, I can find who these people are, right? I start looking around social media. And when you're looking at social media and trying to identify a team, it's relatively easy most of the time. So between Twitter, Telegram, the website, I should find something. Quite frankly, all I found was that they use Namecheap as their domain provider. That is literally all I found. There typically is an origin or a genesis event on a social media feed where you can essentially tell who the people are. They're going to comment on their first post. They're going to like their first post. They're going to do these types of things in order to seed the promotion, seed the broadcast effect that then later leads into the network effect that leads to virality. That's the basic genesis of a social media announcement like this, the basic campaign. I identified a few individuals who really seemed to fit, like they may be part of the program. They were early on, they fit, they were cross between Telegram and Twitter. I reached out to them, multiple people. Every single one of them denied being part of the team. Most of them, I absolutely have no reason to believe they're not telling me the absolute truth. So then I started thinking, well, let's go to the white paper again. Where is it? Let's go to the white paper for a little bit more help. And I didn't see any company information. Professor and me kicked in. That's a poorly cited reference. Do better. Yeah, I'm not trying to be negative. It's just the professor and me kicked in. Where was it? I started looking around the website even, and I saw ZPN Limited. Great. I did business searches, and I couldn't really come up with anything. There was nothing in Singapore, and they're saying they're a Singapore business. There were certain things in the social media trail that led me to the UK, and then that led me to the UAE. Primarily, the UAE was a long shot. I was going there because there is a ZPN in the UAE, and they deal with VPNs. I wasn't thinking they were the same organizations. I was thinking that I could find it and help this organization prevent a potential cease and desist if they were out of the UAE. The UK turned up nothing. UAE turned up nothing except for the company I already knew of called ZPN. And when I say already knew of, I mean from previous research as a part of this. I didn't know them days ago. And the company research yielded nothing. So, of course, I asked Zilliqa. Contact at Zilliqa said, we don't know who they are. I contacted Zilliqans. Contact at Zilliqans said, we don't know who they are. Which, look, it's an open decentralized blockchain. Isn't all that abnormal. It's not all that strange. But the story does start to get strange from there. This is when we begin to move to Telegram. So let me recap for a moment. I'm working with the white paper way over there. I'm working with the website. I'm working with the social media accounts. I'm working with contacts at multiple organizations. I'm trying to figure out and get to the bottom of this because, again, normally it's pretty easy. There's always a seed. There's always a clue. There's always something. Then we get to Telegram, and when they open their group, and I'm not going to put this part on screen, when they open the group, I jump in and basically go, hey, everybody, I'm here. Let's add some legitimacy. Go ahead and tell me who you are. Not much going on in those terms. And so some of the people in the community there started getting around the idea, started putting some pressure on it. Ultimately, where we ended up was with the ZPN folks and myself in a DM. And in the DM, there were all these thoughts that, we were going to do an interview or something like this for the Zilliqa Observer. And yeah, I would love to do one of those. But it was also clear, like, I'm actually coming from a different angle. I just want to add legitimacy. I just want to find, I want to be the third party source. Or so I wanted somebody to be. I didn't even care if it was me. I wanted somebody to be the third-party source to say, yeah, we know who this is. There's some background in this field, or there's some reason that these folks are looking at this particular space. Are they network engineers? Are they security specialists? Are they ambitious business people? What's the idea? So the community pressure keeps going, and we were going back and forth. But then I start getting these messages that say I'm still being talked about in the Telegram group. And what struck me as odd is one of the messages that was made by ZPN official there basically said, look, we could contact Chase later when someone from the core has time because I've been asking about technical questions. Well, I really wasn't asking about technical questions. I was asking about, will you reveal yourself to me? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Will you reveal yourself to somebody so that we can at least verify you're real, this is a legitimate operation? And by the way, other applications, other dApps have done this. Even when they're anonymous, there have been instances in the past where a developer is known by an entity, a blockchain, for instance. I don't know if Zilliqa has done this, but where they're known by the blockchain but stay anonymous outside of that confidential, privileged, and private information. And look, the community just wouldn't let up, and I appreciate that. But it led to some stranger things happening. And one of those was for ZPN official to eventually say something like, to try to get social validation and to say, look, well, I could show you the screenshots. I'm over here talking to Chase in the DM, and they were right. They were. But to get social validation of it, to prove it, one of the things they said was something like, yeah, but we're not sure if Chase would like that. And we'll have to ask, somebody would have to ask him. Nobody asked me. Nobody in the community asked me. ZPN never informed me that was even, I would have said yes, because in fact, here it is. At least my part of it, I don't, this thing has gotten so weird of people hiding behind being anonymous, which is not something that's beneficial for our community, not something they're going to be able to utilize and pull off. Let me just put it this way. You cannot pull off what they're talking about pulling off being anonymous. You cannot do it. You're not going to get servers in data centers being anonymous. So look, there are a lot of other things I can infer, but that I can say precisely. And of course, I've taken out all of their comments. I'm not going, that's for them. If they want to share this information, I'm not trying to gotcha anybody. I say that over and over. I'm not even a journalist. I'm just here to offer third-party business support, doing business analysis, and this thing just got weird. Nobody will put a name on it. There's no Genesis information. And let me walk through some of the stranger points because you can only see my information. I offered to go under an NDA. That was declined. I asked, or by the way, then I confirmed that this is standard process, right? I'm not asking for an interview at this moment. I would have immediately after if they had, complied with this, but I'm not asking for anything. This is standard process. You reveal yourself to somebody, a trusted third party, to get the credibility to move forward, to have somebody vouching for you saying, I've done a third party audit. I can't say, I can't guarantee anything, but it looks legit. They could have gone to Zilliqa to do that. They could have gone to Zilliqans to do that. Nobody did. Which tells me a little bit about the business planning, which tells me about the mindset of the people involved. And then I essentially get referred to the GitHub, the GitHub repo for ZPN, for the entire project. And, what struck me as odd there, I'm not going to bring that up either, but what struck me as odd there, it's just a brand new account. It's just like Twitter. It's just like Telegram in the sense that there is no origin that's pointing to anything else. They've never contributed to any other repos or repositories. They've never received contribution. It is a brand new, insulated, only, you get where I'm going? It's intentionally hidden, and I get that. They want to be anonymous, but the larger issue is they're not understanding the fact that that's not how the business is done. That's not, one, they're never going to be able to pull this off unless they reveal themselves to the IT partners. But two, there's not going to be a community trust in the ZRC buy-in in order to get there. So the GitHub was no help. It's just, it was confirming and repeating this process. So I keep going, right? And I ask, fine, let me just try a different approach. What about somebody on the business side that might be willing to just share a LinkedIn with me? Let me look through. Let me see what your background is. Are you in network development? Are you a serial entrepreneur? Give me something. That was denied, of course, and I get, the traditional no, sorry, we're not going to do that. Again, not understanding that anonymity is okay, but this isn't how the business side of it is run, and it's giving me quite the apprehension after having, secured this bag, like saying, hey, I'm missing out on something, but other people are doing diligence as well. Let me just jump on in and I'll triage tomorrow. I start realizing, no, there's not. There's no, even if this is a team of expert VPN specialists, network engineers, there is no concept of how to run a business, how media and individuals and investors and token holders interact with business. And so it does keep getting stranger. The rabbit hole keeps going. As the community kept applying more and more and more pressure because they wanted the same thing I did. Just use me as a third party. Show me somebody, show me one person. They wanted word from, they didn't care if it was from me or Zilliqans or Zilliqa or anybody. Show one person that we can reasonably trust who has their name literally in the game. Give us just one person. For me, I don't care if it's me. Somebody. One person so we can get third-party verification that, yeah, okay, things at least right now look like they're on board. Continue what you're doing. One of the responses in their Telegram was this. By the way, this is the day after announcing their project. And I'm going to read this verbatim. Right now, we are watching towards, grammar, more non-Zilliqa holders attraction. I'm going to pause there when I'm not picking on the grammar. I'm just calling it out because fine, if English isn't your first language or whatever, that's no concern to me. I'm just pointing it out. It's a big market, and in my opinion, Zilliqa marketing is a joke right now. We are working on marketing materials that will help to get some ERC-20 BSC guys. One day after announcing your ZRC-2 token, and that you're built on Zilliqa, which, by the way, the VPN won't be built on Zilliqa. It'll be tokenized through Zilliqa. One day after announcing that, with a little bit of pressure to go to any third-party verification, me, Zilliqa, Zilliqa, your second cousin Bob, who's willing to put his name out there. And the response is, Zilliqa marketing sucks. We want to potentially issue an ETH token or a BEP token? Huh. I think that's a little too fresh in some people's minds right now, thinking that somebody may be looking to build an arbitrage bridge privately before the bridge launches. But between you and me, right, because third-party verification stuff happens, between you and me, I happen to know that unless they have significant development that's not on GitHub already, they're not going to beat the timeline for the bridge. So if it's arbitrage, that's dumb. Look, I'm still of the assumption that these people could be very valid, could be network engineers, VPN specialists, something like this. But you've got to do the business part the way it's supposed to be done. And this, my friends, is not it. This looks like insider arbitrage attempts. This looks like Sergs abandoning ship because they get tired of the pace of development after supposedly being all in. This looks like, do I need to keep listing after Bolt and Sergs? It doesn't have to be me. Somebody. That's how business is done. You want to put a server operating in somebody's data center. You want me and others to give you rights to access my home network and farm it out to whoever in the world for the use of the IP address, for the use, and you can't even get a business person to put a name out. You can't reveal one developer. You tell your group that you're waiting on me because I'm asking technical questions when I haven't asked the first technical question. And you know what really gets me? Is at that point, they're bashing Zilliqa after happily taking our money to buy tokens. One day later, they're doing this, misconstruing the way our conversation is going when I truly don't care if it's me they reveal themselves to. Do it with somebody. But then this. The part of the chat I didn't show you is my final question to them where I left it, where they think they're waiting on me on a reply. Go ahead and read that. Is ZPN limited? Oh, wait a second. Do you remember ZPN limited? Do you remember the bottom of the website? Copyright ZPN limited. All rights reserved 2021. I couldn't find them in Singapore. I couldn't find them in the UK. I couldn't find them in the US. We don't have that business structure, so they wouldn't have been here. I couldn't find them in the UAE. I couldn't find them in global searches. And the rest of my question is ZPN Limited a Singapore company or registered in another country? Look, I'm not going to put anything they wrote up on screen. These could be the most competent, capable developers who simply are slightly misguided and have never run a business before. Could be. But here's a message I got. I'm going to read it, even though I won't put it on screen. I won't read the whole thing. It's this block right here. We did not register ZPN Limited as a company yet. We are working on that. When we started this project, we didn't expect this much demand this fast. This much demand? For what? You don't have a VPN. You don't have a dvpn. You don't have anything but a ZRC-2 token, which anybody can mint. Haven't we been proving that the past couple of days? Haven't I even been somebody who's acknowledged my involvement in one of those so that people don't get the wrong idea? It was a mainnet test. I love the Gary token. But it was just a test for something else we're working on that we needed to do on mainnet. Where's the disclosure? Where's the transparency? You want to use my IP address, my bandwidth. You want to get servers and data centers, but you're not going to have a business or media contact? And you're going to represent yourself as a business while doing this and not have a business? Look, I get it. People are idealistic. We jump the gun. It took me 20 years of business training, and still I'm learning every day to fight that impulse. But you just represented yourself as having a business that you don't have and issued something for financial value that you cannot verify is not a security. Because it's not backed by any utility. It's backed by the hope that we trust you enough that there's a development team that you won't divulge and a management team that you won't divulge to put something together to sometime maybe be a sort of type of orchid on Zilliqa. When I could just go buy an orchid for 60-something cents right now. I know that there are serious people who believe in this project already. My job's not to change your mind. My job is to tell you I fell into a rabbit hole I didn't expect to be in today. I fully disclosed that I had bought into this. I have since divested myself. Not fully. I still do hold some. I don't know what's going on here. Is it a rug pull? Is it a scam? I see those terms being thrown. I can't say it's not, but I can't say it is. It's certainly obfuscated. It's certainly hiding whatever it is. But what I can tell you is when I remove myself from it, the fact that it's not a secret that this uninformed view of what privacy is and is not and what blockchains allow us to do. Look, they're just stores of transactional data. That's it. It doesn't give you the right to break international laws. You know, like it's just a transactional store across blocks that are reached through consensus in a decentralized fashion. That's it. But what I can tell you right now from the business side, and for those of you who have never been on the business side, this is what it looks like. This is sometimes what negotiating tables look like. Sitting down and saying this stuff with no emotion, but quite intense. Of this is where you're at, and you're not giving me what I need. I went into this expecting to promote this awesome idea of, look, we can have Orchid on Zilliqa. I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's a rug pull. I don't know if it's a scam. I certainly don't like this statement right here, bashing the network you just launched on and openly admitting you want to mint tokens on 2 other networks. But what I do know is this is not how we do business. And so what I can tell every single one of your token holders, including me, because I still have some, is you cannot accomplish what you've set out to accomplish, even in that minimal white paper. Not because you're not capable of it. But what I'm telling you is for security reasons. No one's going to let you put your server into their facility without trust. Just because blockchain is a trustless, permissionless environment does not mean that the entire world is. You can't even take a cell phone or a camera into a data center. Even me, if I'm there for business, I have to surrender my phone into practically a Faraday cage. Look, maybe I've made you mad because you might not be used to the business side of things. That'd be okay. I'd understand that. If that's the case, let me be your friend. Really. And tell you, contact Zilliqa, Zillocracy, any of the YouTubers, anybody who has some trusted voice in this space, and provide us with something to where I have to come back and say, here was the concern, here's how it's been addressed and resolved. Do something. Do something. All right, look, this is more behind the scenes of business than I want to be giving anybody else today. I really would love to see this project knock it out of the park and win. To utilize tokenization on Zilliqa to make a difference, to create a DVPN. At this time, though, I don't know what they are, who they are. And honestly, I would say that signs point to something not quite above board at the worst. And at the best, someone or people with good intentions who simply have no idea how to accomplish something like this. This is not meant to be mean. This is not meant to be this is business analysis. And I wish you the best of luck. Provide me or somebody with the information that helps the community understand who you are. Otherwise, I don't make predictions. I don't do pricing. I don't do buy, no buy. I don't, do any of that. But this is certainly something that is doesn't really need to be on the table until they take some further action to rectify these situations. Take care, everybody. And as always, look, do your research.